Children's book, page 412. 2. Ben's wishes. As uncle in the right books for children, it is in my uncle very often my child, because he lived in Africa, but he seen us see sometimes. When you told us, it usually told me over the stories. I love them all, but Ben's wishes is my favorite. My uncle told us that winter is very cold outside, around 10, I think. A boy called Ben and two older brothers. It's all the boys after hungry and after angry and the others are poor. Going to water the fields. They said to Ben early each morning, when it brings home to vegetables and meat and no vegetable as soup and rather dinner. Ben always answered seeing once, but out to school and running all but to roll. Ben's uncle brothers laughed and said, "Don't be silly. You are clever enough to go to the school us." So Ben didn't know the well. He just watched the fields and the rain, digging and planting and planting and digging. One really cold morning, when she planted some onions and she saw old silver cup on the ground. It picked her up, sat down on the tree, and cleaned it with a scarf. When carefully, he put it down in the grass near the rocks down. Ben is tired and hungry, but she thought of 5 little others to eat. He looked at the cup and said, "I'm so lucky to possess ours, but I like a lovely warm drink too." Suddenly, the silver cup and throw the salted hot chocolate. It was very surprised. In taking all, it was still cold. He looked down in his old jacket and up again and said, "I'm so lucky to have the jacket, but only 100 to hold it, and I wish I could have a new coat." A wonderful coat made the wool suddenly appeared somewhere in the sky. Now Ben is really surprised. He put it on. It's all so soft and warm. Then she opened a little book and belonged to the brothers. Ben looked at the cup one more time and said, "I'm so lucky to have that one book to read, but I like to want 100 roll. I can roll all the bread to roll, please." Suddenly, 100 wolves sounded between the leaves and the tree approaching. When she couldn't believe it. He was so pleased. He laughed and laughed, with on in his jacket. Carried the books home, sat down by the fire, and read them all. When Ben's older brothers came to the door, and still were angry. "Where's dinner? Where's our vegetable soup?" they shouted. Ben looked up and said, "I found an old cup in the field today. I think it understands Brad's wishes. It gave me a hot chocolate and warm cold and 100 really interesting books. I'm running all about the world. It's amazing. I know all the red land and its oceans and felt creases in the ears and clothes now. So as to soup the cup for dinner." The two older brothers looked at Aunt's new coat, its new books, and went in the silver cup on the table. One is one picture up. He was angry, and now we have a wish too. Give out a dinner. We wanted this minute, he said. They entered bowls and suddenly posed in delicious vegetable soups. And Gordon looked to believe it. Cup! And all those brothers shouted, give me a room full of money. Give me more money from the travel and a room full of candy. When others brothers said, suddenly, it is candy and money everywhere. The brother began to write. Give me red cup. Shouted, no, this wildness is mine, it's not right, give it to me. The cup fell on the ground and broke, and all the candy and money, and delicious vegetable soups, Ben's warm coat, and with interest books disappeared. They didn't know when to the house. I felt really sad and my uncle told them its story. But when? And angry. But you cat wouldn't make it all the stories in the world interfere to it. And what's our van and imagine is it all the countries in the world and wrote a lot of story in about two animals and people for this bear to the children. I never knew my uncle's first name. I just thought uncle. Perhaps, just perhaps, it is Ben.